Good morning, it's Ty, the LinkedIn guy here in Tokyo. It is Wednesday morning. Today I want to talk about the magic of LinkedIn and where it really occurs. And that is in your messenger, in the inbox in LinkedIn. This is where the magic happens. Don't let anyone tell you any different. Not even Gary Vee. You know, he's talking now the big game about LinkedIn and organic reach and making these posts. That's fine if you've got a couple of million followers. For the huge majority of business owners, attraction marketing, just chucking up a post there and getting some likes and thinking, well, you know, and hoping clients are then going to take action and come to you just based on that in LinkedIn. It isn't going to work. It's not. And if you're doing that now and you're not getting clients, that's the reason. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. First of all, you've got to see LinkedIn as a complete funnel, as a complete sales funnel. And this is where people are kind of failing, because what they're doing is they're buying automation tools. They're like paying someone to optimize their profile. And there's some people out there I see now, they're offering this, look, I'll optimize your profile. Their profiles are horrible. And then they're saying, I'm going to optimize you. I'm kind of at a loss at the moment. You know, I've seen this a couple of times now, where they really don't understand the indexing of LinkedIn profiles and the weighting of profiles. Anyway, that's besides the point. But you've got to see that it's a funnel that's occurring. And this is what's happening in your LinkedIn now. You are most likely doing this. Connect with someone, find someone, connect with someone, or try to connect with them if they accept. Then you do some message and it goes quiet, right? Or they say thanks, or they say, yeah, not now. Usually that means you're going in for the kiss too fast on your first ever message. And there's 3 types of messaging that I see over and over again. That is horrible, that's horrible, and it's not going to get results. It just never does. And the first one is, you know, the whole concept as well is, okay, I see this getting taught. Connect with someone, wait a day, send a message, then wait another couple of days, send a follow-up message. That doesn't work either. These things don't work. I've been using this platform for 14 years in my businesses, not as a coach of LinkedIn, in my businesses, to build these businesses, to generate over 22 million bucks in fees off LinkedIn. That kind of thing doesn't work. Like, oh, pause, wait 2 days and then do that. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. It also doesn't work because there's 3 types of messages I see over and over again. And if you are doing these, please stop. Please stop. You're not doing yourself a favor. First of all, it's those horrible connection notes where it's like, hey, let's connect for mutual benefit. It's not mutually beneficial to anyone, right? It's just not. Why use it? Or just letting LinkedIn say, hey, I saw, you know, you're recommended as someone I should connect to. Let's connect. And then expecting some kind of response, expecting someone to take action from that. The second type that I see is kind of in between what I call the value vomit and then that horrible first message. And that is when you send this message and you say, oh, hi, I'm Tyron. You know, I specialize in LinkedIn coaching. If I can help you, reach out to me. That doesn't work either. It doesn't, right? It converts like 5% if you're lucky. And the third one is the worst. And this is what a lot of people are guilty of because they've been trained and taught, give value, give value. It's only value if someone asks for it. And what I mean when you have these horrible messages that would be like, it'd be like me saying this, hi, I'm Tyron, great to connect, thank you so much. I provide LinkedIn coaching to small businesses and solopreneurs. Here's a download of the 10 things you must pay attention to on your LinkedIn profile. And also there's a 5-minute video about, you know, why you're not getting messages answered on LinkedIn. And if you've got 5 minutes or got 15 minutes, please book a time with me. When are you free? Let's have a discussion about that. That's horrible as well. Now, if you're guilty of those 3, any of those 3 formats of messaging, that's why it's not working, all right? That's why it's not working, because those messages, that type of approach, it just sucks. You got to think about it. Do you approach someone like that in real life? Do you emulate what you do in real life into your LinkedIn, even into your Facebook messaging, any time when you're doing kind of cold outreach? And that is really a critical part, because you would never walk up to someone in a networking event with a brochure or something and say, hi, I'm Tony, here's this, by the way, here's my schedule, can you book a time? Okay, when are you free? You don't do that. And that's essentially what you're doing on LinkedIn. And the sad thing is, it's the messenger is where the money is made. That is the engine. That is the engine of your success on LinkedIn. So it's paying attention to your messaging and your connection requests. You've got to perfect it. You have to have a formulaic approach to it. You have to test it, and you have to make sure that it is resonating with your avatars. And that is also an important key. There's 2 steps before you start messaging someone. First, it's having a fully understanding of your avatar, exactly who they are, how they self-identify, what are their key problems that you actually have a solution for. There's an assumption about a certain type of avatar that they're likely to have the problem that you solve, right? But it's understanding who they are, how they hang out, what their problems are. And then framing your profile, and this is the element that can really boost your conversion rates, is having that profile that talks to that avatar. So when someone lands on your profile, they have to see themselves in your profile. It has to be about them, not about you. This is when I talk about saying a client-facing promotional page, not spammy, not salesy, but a page when someone lands on your profile, they see themselves in you. They see their problems being addressed by you. They see that there's a solution to that problem. They see what others are saying about you, and it's all about them. And that is a critical component to boost your conversion. If you've got a resume on LinkedIn and expecting to get clients, there's your first mistake. A resume is used for what? Getting a job. You're not trying to get a job. You're trying to land clients. You're trying to get into dialogues, into discussions, and get leads that you can then convert into your clients. So, having said all that, if you are not doing these things, this is why stuff isn't working for you on LinkedIn. The first thing is you really have to build that rapport first. Now, people, what I want to really make clear that this whole process can literally be done in minutes. Right? It's not something that we have to drag out over a week where we give this information first, then we wait 2 days and do. No, you can actually compress all this, because one of the key things is what you should be doing when you're reaching out to people is only be reaching out, certainly at the start of your process, to the active people on LinkedIn, the active avatars. Right? Because they're most conducive to doing business with you. They're the ones most likely to be listening to you, who answer messages. They're used to being on LinkedIn. So you want to, make sure that you're niching and that you're filtering, so you're going after the most active of the active on LinkedIn. Makes your job easier, right? Go for the low-hanging fruit. Don't try to connect and message and force a dialogue with someone who maybe doesn't even post anything for a month on LinkedIn. And that's where a lot of people fail. A classic example is like dentists. There's 84,000 dentists on LinkedIn in the USA. Only less than 700 have come on and posted anything in the last month. So if you're chasing the wrong people and sending connections and messages to the 99.3% of dentists that don't even post anything, aren't even active, there's a high chance that they're the ones ignoring you as well. So, make sure that you are focusing on those active players. So in that case, when you get rapport, you've got to build that rapport. Now, you can't come across as salesy or spammy. You are going to be ignored. You're going to be rejected. They may even ignore and hit the I don't know this person just to stick it to you. Now, with your rapport, you've got to really be thinking about those key principles of influence, because what we're trying to do, you can't sell anyone. You can't get into a dialogue with anyone unless you have that rapport. So look for the connections. Look for ways, look at unity. Is that you as a business owner and that person as a business owner, especially from a B2B sale, and you're selling your product or service to other owners, use that unity, right? Study the principles of influence. It's really important, because you can use a lot of them to build that rapport. You can use humor. You can make statements, observations, questions. You've got to be really careful, though, of the way that you're asking stuff, because if you ask something of someone that requires them to give a long answer, the chances are they are going to ignore you. because if they answer with just a little short kind of response, it makes them look foolish, and no one wants to look foolish. It's just easier for them to ignore that message. So be very careful in the way that you're forcing reciprocity on someone. Or so in the rapport building phase, think of that. Think of unity. Unity works a charm. A little bit of humor works a charm. But you've got to be getting that rapport first, and you will know when you've got it because they're going to answer back, and the length of that answer is going to give you an indication of if you've hit that kind of mark with them. And once you've got those kind of rapport connection notes worked out and tested, you may be seeing 40 to 60% connection rates, right? But you've got to test it and test it, and once you land on it for a certain avatar, then you can scale with it. When we talk about generic messages and templated messages, they're tested, right? They're tested. So once you have that rapport, you then have to go into a discovery mode, right? Now, where I see people fail a lot is they stay in that discovery mode. They stay in situational type questions. And what happens is they go back and forth with some questions, and the person's answering, and you're all excited, and then they go quiet. Because what you've done is you've worn out your welcome. You've worn out your welcome because they know what's coming. They're not stupid. You've connected with them. Your profile matches them. It solves problem. They're seeing that you're someone that can actually solve a problem for them. But you've gone into the inbox. You've got that rapport, great. But then you go into these situational questions of discovery. But you stay in them and you never get out of them. And they get bored and they move on. They're waiting for the next phase. So make sure after you've got the rapport, you move into that uncover mode, right? And in that mode, what you're doing is that you want to probe for a problem that you solve. Do they have a problem that you solve? So you have to construct your questionings very carefully. Again, you don't want to be making them you don't want to make them have to give large answers and commit to a large amount of detail because they just won't. They just won't. But you've got to go into that mode, and it should be directed towards the problem that you solve, of course. And in that same process of your uncover phase, and this is only a couple of sentences, guys. I'm not talking we're going, writing paragraphs. That doesn't work on LinkedIn. It really doesn't. It's a couple of well-structured questions, probing questions, and then you're sizing them up. You're trying to find that fit for you as well. Because if they've just solved that problem, or if they've just hired someone to fix that problem, or it's not really a problem that they care about, they're not useful for you. I mean, that's just the fact. If you're in a prospecting mode, if they're not having that problem and self-identifying having that problem, close out the conversation and move on to the next person. You don't have time to waste. But in the uncover, that's what you should be doing, is weaving in questions to identify and have them self-identify that, yes, that is a problem that I have. Great. When you have that and you've sized them up as a potential fit for you, they are kind of matching you, the way they've responded to you. It's just like in real life, at a networking event, when you're talking to someone, before you go deeper into a conversation, you are kind of seeing if they're a fit for you, if you want to stay in this conversation, right? You don't just stay there if they're really rude or they're just kind of boring or whatever. And the same thing on LinkedIn. When you're in this messenger and in this dialogue, you're sizing them up as a potential fit for you and if they have that problem that you solve. So once you've identified that, you then have to have your transition question. And a lot of people fail there because, again, they go too fast, too pushy. What you want to be doing is highlighting to them a solution and having them say to you, well, tell me about that. And that's when you are proposing to get off LinkedIn and to get on that call. Now, the important thing is the amount of time that it takes, or the length of time between that dialogue and you getting on that call with them. The longer you leave that, the less chance you have of them turning up, the more excuses you have. So you really have to be, when you're running your strategies, when you're running your connection and messaging strategies, you want to block your time, because it's right then and there. If you can get that person on a call right from that messenger immediately onto a call, the battle's won. It really is. So you've got to be prepared as well, and you've got to have intent. And this is the thing that a lot of people don't have, is that when they go into it, LinkedIn, you're not running any kind of workflow process. And this is what I coach my clients to, is having a workflow process in place. So you have your intent, you have your outcome in mind. So when you actually start these dialogues, you're ready, you're in that mindset, and you can get into those calls and then go through a presentation when you're needed. Yeah, when it's needed. It's not like something, I've got to plan now. No, you have to have all this prepared before you start going and doing your prospecting strategies. So make sure that transition is brought in quick. And I'm talking, this is like 3 or 4 exchanges. This is not a long history of what you've been doing and how you've done. It just doesn't work. They already know what's coming. However, you have to soften it, and you have to make it look like it's all about them. And there's different techniques and formula that I use with my coaching students to make our messages actually pop. And if you in my public group, LinkedIn Sales Funnels for Entrepreneurs, you'll see some examples of the results of that kind of messaging. One of my clients, Jackie, she was prospecting and reaching out to presidents in Australia. She offers HR services, fractional services to companies. And she reached out to this guy. And the president, he was so, he loved the messaging so much, he made a video on LinkedIn about it. But the thing is, he titled the message like, beware spammers and salesy people. And she was like, oh my God, what's he going to talk about? He tagged her on the post. But what he mentioned on the post was exactly what I wanted. He was saying, wow, I just got this type of message. This is how it should be done. Kind of showed his screen and was really excited about it. That's what you want. You want your messaging to look like no one else's. And that's why those 3 type of messages I mentioned at the start of the presentation, don't do that. They suck. They will not convert. Yeah. So just to recap, you get that rapport. You go into that discovery uncover mode. You assess them for a fit for you, and then you show that there's a solution there, and that's a transition, because then you want them asking you, "Well, tell me about that." Great, and that's when you are immediately saying, well, let's get on a call. Or if your funnel is to put them into a webinar, put them into a sales letter, put them into a sales video, whatever it is, whatever your transition is where you do your selling, that's where it's got to go down right then and there. And as I said, that process happens in minutes, not hours, not days. If it's done well, they're not going to feel rushed. It's a natural discussion. It's a natural progression. And as I said, you can speed up the time frames on this because they know what's coming. Right? They know it. And if they have that problem and you have that solution for them, they're going to be interested in hearing about it. They just are. Now, it's going to be a small percentage of them, of course. But if you are focusing on your ideal client avatars, you are consistently reaching out to them and adding them to your network, getting into discussions that aren't spammy and salesy, then that's when the momentum builds. Because as you stay connected with them and as you nurture them as well, and there's techniques to make sure that you're nurturing people inside LinkedIn, in their inbox, as they get into that pain point, or that pain point becomes stronger, or they realize that, have that pain, you're going to be top of mind. And that's, where you can then put them re-engage, or they'll re-engage with you, and you'll get the inbound, right? But it will start off with your outbound strategic outreach. It just will. It will around 92%, 93% of my business, and I look at my clients' business, comes from the outreach, not from the inbound. It just works that way. Angel, what type of connection messages would you send? The connection messages that I'm looking for that unity. I'm looking for that observation, that humor. I'm not forcing a question that is going to make them have to answer with an essay as well. So I'm avoiding that type of thing. I'm avoiding looking generic. I'm avoiding asking questions that force reciprocity. And the connection rate is higher, because what's going to happen, they're going to connect. Now, some are going to look at your profile and then connect. Some will just connect, but some are going to look at the profile, and when they see the profile, that's the kicker for them. They're like, wow, this guy matches. This guy has stuff. His profile looks different to everyone else's. That's, my profile looks different to everyone else's on LinkedIn because I use it differently to everyone else. That's what kind of sparks those connections. You've got to test it. You've got to test your connection messages, test your notes depending on the avatar. The way that I reach out to a president, a CEO of a company that's long established is different to the way I reach out to a startup or an entrepreneur. So that's the thing with your connection and messaging notes. You will have different sets for your different avatars and you will be able to tweak them accordingly. But if you're not testing them, and you should test them on about 40, 50 people, that will give you enough kind of data, then you're not going to get anywhere. So if your note isn't converting, say, it depends on the industry. If it's financial related, 30% plus is really great. For most of us, that 40% plus range, if it's an offer that is not like a financial offer, tends to be pretty good. If you're hitting over that, that's great. And then that will allow you to get into a messaging dialogue with your avatar, and that's when you want to get 40 to 60% responding to that. That's really important because that way you can scale it. You can scale it. So anyway, guys, just wanted to cover that. If you're not going through those phases in your messaging, that's why things aren't working. You're not doing the rapport properly. You're not going into an uncover phase. You're not discovering that problem. You're not sizing them up as a potential fit for you. Your solution reveal is poor. And then you're not transitioning in and getting them to say, well, let's go on a call about that, or getting them to say, tell me about that solution. There is a process that you have to follow. And if you go down that kind of that route, that's when you start to see the right kind of responses and the right kind of activity with your messenger, because the money is made in the messages. It just is, guys. And if you haven't perfected that part of the funnel, the rest doesn't matter. Doesn't matter how great your profile looks. Doesn't matter how great your messaging is. Your offer, the message of your profile is. You've got to nail that. All right. I hope that gives you some food for thought. If you're not in my group, join my group, LinkedIn Sales Funnels for Entrepreneurs. It's about 4,500 other entrepreneurs there. Join there and watch for my insights. So hope that helped, guys. I'll see you later. I'm going to finish now. Bye.